Super Bowl 55 has just completed, and I'm here to talk about all of the music from the game right now. Hey everybody, Chris King here with Love Live Music. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I like to talk about live music. I like to talk about music in general. I like to listen to my dog bark, but not all the time. Hopefully he quiets down. You know, they say that music is timeless, but live music is a moment in time. And the moment in time we're talking about right now is what happened on February 7th in Tampa Bay, Florida. We've got three things to talk about. One, the Weeknd performing halftime of the Super Bowl. Two, we're going to talk about H.E.R singing America the Beautiful. And three, we've got the performance of H.E.R and Jazmine Sullivan for our national anthem. Where to begin? Well, let's begin where they begin. America the Beautiful, as performed by H.E.R. H.E.R was set up, it looked like on the 50-yard line, but up closer to the stands, maybe behind where the players are sat on the sideline. And she was elevated in such a way with a guitar and singing America the Beautiful. And I'll tell you, I really enjoyed her rendition of this song. I enjoyed her guitar playing. I enjoyed her costuming for this event. I thought it was tastefully done. Do I think that she was 100% singing live? I do not. I do not at all. But do I think that that was her version, ultimately, that she had sung that? Yes, of course I do. Therefore, I enjoyed H.E.R.'s performance. Shortly right after that, we go to the center of the field where H.E.R and Jazmine Sullivan will perform. Now, you guys know from a video recently, I'm a Jazmine Sullivan fan. Also an H.E.R fan. Had the opportunity to work with him on a couple of small club shows years ago. As a matter of fact, a few days ago, I ran across the paper that was the rider from the contract from when I worked with him, 10 years ago. And it was laughable, some of the things that were on the rider, because now you think H.E.R probably gets a lot more than what was on that page. I'll have to show it to you someday, but that's not why I'm here right now. Right now, I want to talk about the performance of our national anthem. And this was, they have prop bets for things like this at the Super Bowl about if the national anthem is going to run long, if it's going to be a certain amount of time. I would assume that this one ran long because it was unlike any version of it that I've ever heard. I'm not saying it's never been done before. I'm just saying I wasn't necessarily familiar with this arrangement, and I enjoyed it. H.E.R starts off, he's playing it on guitar, which is interesting because we just had H.E.R playing guitar on America the Beautiful. Now H.E.R is playing guitar, and he starts off with the first part of it, and now in comes Jazmine Sullivan, who looks fantastic. I love what she's done with her headpiece or her hair or what she's wearing. She just looks really sharp. H.E.R, down to earth. This was, again, I wouldn't bet the farm that this was a completely live performance. I'm guessing that this was probably recorded previously and that they were not delivering it live as we were watching it this afternoon. All that being said, I really liked what they did. Sometimes it's been said that you can try to please too many people by trying to do too many things, and maybe some people would see this as that, but I enjoyed it personally. I thought it was a good rendition of the song, and I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up in the next day or two and it's at the top of the iTunes sales charts. Which brings us to halftime of the Super Bowl. Just the other day, I was watching the Prince version from 14 years ago when he performed, and so maybe I was a little overhyped for the Weeknd. And I tried to keep my expectations low because really, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a very knowledgeable fan of the Weeknd. I know a little bit of the Weeknd's story. Where he's come from Toronto. I know a little bit of his backstory. I know the things that I guess what he's released as singles, the things I've heard on the radio, the things he's released videos for that I've seen, some songs that have been hammered into us for the last year. Let's get to the performance itself. It was interesting because it was a lot of spectacle, and I wouldn't really say that I loved it. And I like to try to keep things as positive as possible here on my Love Live Music channel. So really, I would say some of the parts didn't work for me. The first, when he was doing Starboy, I felt like the vocals very well may have been live off the mic, but for some reason the mix was buried very low, and so it didn't come through. And I don't know if other people had the same problem, but I definitely felt like the first part of the performance, Starboy and the Hills, I believe, were both like that. It was hard to hear him. Then, there was some weirdness going on with whatever was behind him. If those were real people, if it was CGI, then it turns out it looked like maybe it was mostly real people. But then he ducks inside, it splits apart. He goes inside to this real mirrored type existence where he performs I Can't Feel My Face. And I thought stage-wise, it was very cool. It was very claustrophobic. It was like being in a house of mirrors. I liked the way that it was lit all in gold mirror, and then he being, in his red jacket, black shirt, if I remember correctly, being the centerpiece, almost looked like he was holding the camera as he was going back and forth with it. And for me, that was pretty much the highlight. Then he gives us I Feel It Coming, which, now I kind of feel like when he comes back out after I Can't Feel My Face, this is where I'm starting to doubt if the vocals are live. When he goes into I Feel It Coming, and then he runs into Save Your Tears, comes out onto the field, and ultimately does a really cool thing with blinding lights with a ton of dancers all dressed similar to him, except they've got the head bandage piece on. They're holding some lights in their palms that they dance with. It was very visual. It makes me think that if you go see him in concert, or maybe he had planned this for a concert tour that should have happened already. I know it's been pushed to next year, but that this was all part of that. And even at the first, when I was watching and he had the giant backdrop behind him when he was doing Starboy and the Hills, I felt like maybe that would have been better suited for something like the Grammys instead of this. And there's any number of reasons for that. He didn't come out onto the field until the end. There was no staging directly on the field. That might have been a COVID thing. That might have been the preference of and I'm assuming Jay-Z put a lot of this together, because I think Jay-Z is the one that has the contract to produce these Super Bowl events starting last year with Shakira and J-Lo. So, all in all, how do I rate the performance? I was not blown away. I still like the artist. I still like the artist's music. It just, I don't think will leave as much of a lasting impression on me as some of the others that I've seen, be it Prince or even Gaga a couple of years ago. Beyonce, even Justin Timberlake. And, ultimately, I would say you've got to watch the Super Bowl halftime if you like to watch things like this, like I do. So take a few minutes, watch it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you love live music. Let me know if you like some of these videos that are coming up on the screen, because I like to make them, and I hope that you like to watch them, like that one right there. It's a good one. My name's Chris King, and I love live music.